Welcome back to my channel, Navigating Midlife Live. And today's episode, I'm going to talk about why you feel unmotivated in menopause. Sorry about that. Had a screen open there. Hey, this is live, right? These mistakes happen. But before I get started, I'm really excited to be doing live today because, of course, it's sort of it's a stamp, a memory in history. Today is Lunar New Year, Chinese Lunar New Year. So happy Lunar New Year. We've entered the most anticipated fire horse in 2026. So that's very exciting. And to all of my Cantonese friends, Gong Hei Fa Choi. So yes, I wanted to do that because it's important to me. I have a lot of Cantonese friends, and I took the time today to wish them a happy Lunar New Year. Okay, so let's get started on today's topic: why you feel unmotivated in menopause. And I didn't do a live last week. I ended up writing a blog, and it was on this topic about feeling unmotivated. And then as I started to think about it more, I thought I want this topic to uh, be available to more women who are navigating menopause because we tend to search for very specific things, but maybe we don't use the words, why do I feel unmotivated or something like that. So I thought this is a good topic to talk about because it's not uncommon for a lot of women as they're navigating menopause to feel defeated, feel like they're not doing enough, wonder if they will ever feel like themselves again. Or there are women who just kind of say, okay, this is the way it is. I have to accept this. Maybe I'm never going to feel this way again, so I have to make the best of it. And I'm here to tell you that you don't have to accept that there are very specific reasons. So there's lots of reasons, but there's very specific reasons why you're feeling unmotivated. And there is answers. There's things that you can do so that you do feel better. So let's first talk about the why. Then we'll get into all the other aspects. So let's talk about the why. So why are you feeling unmotivated? Well, I think it's probably pretty consistent. It is our hormones. Women, we are generally, or we are most definitely affected by our hormones. We are far more sensitive to our hormone makeup than what men are. And this, of course, is being recognized more and more, and it's being talked about more and more. And there's nothing wrong with us. We don't just wake up one day and decide, I'm in menopause. I just don't feel like doing anything. We wake up one day and we go, what happened? Where did my drive go? So let's talk about the hormones. So estrogen. Estrogen has many roles, but one of its roles is it's connected to our neurotransmitters. So things like dopamine and serotonin, and those can affect our mood and how we how we react to things or how we feel about things. So estrogen, yeah, definitely does have a big effect there. The next thing is, of course, progesterone. And I've talked about progesterone numerous times, but progesterone it's that, hey, that calm, take it easy, everything's okay, definitely makes us feel better. And when we're going through the various stages of menopause, our progesterone is, dropping. It's constantly going down. So there is less of that calm feeling. There can be more anxiety or reacting to things in a different way than what we used to. All of a sudden, we can react to something that we never used to react to, and then we might step back later and go, what is wrong with me? Why did I do that? Why did I react that way? Or why did I say that? There's nothing wrong with you. It's your hormones that are changing, and it can really take us by surprise, and those reactions can happen. The other part of that, let's just do a little bit of connecting here, is the cortisol. As we go further into menopause and our adrenal glands start to take over for producing our hormones, well, estrogen and progesterone can sometimes be, what would I say, they can be affected by the cortisol. So our cortisol can increase. So when we have those stressful reactions, our cortisol can be far greater than the estrogen and progesterone. And we might react in a far more sharp way than what we used to. And it can sometimes take us longer to calm down. And, when I think back about me going through perimenopause, which I didn't even know that I was going through, answers a lot of questions for me why I reacted to things the way I did react to things at that time. Because there were times where I went, "Ugh, that's not me. I normally don't react this way. What's wrong?" And I just want to keep reiterating there is nothing wrong. The other part of it is our testosterone. And, as women, I think this is being talked about more and more as far as the role of testosterone in a woman's body. It was kind of always sort of put aside that, oh, well, women don't have much testosterone. They're really not affected by it. Yes, there are some women that have higher testosterone levels, but the majority of women really aren't affected by our testosterone. Well, we now understand more that we are affected by our testosterone levels. And as those testosterone levels start to come down, that does affect our motivation. That can affect our drive, our get up and go. So, all of those lovely hormones are definitely having effect on why you're feeling less motivated, why you're reacting differently. So, what are the solutions? Actually, before I get to the solutions, I just want to pop up my banner here to ask you to like, subscribe, leave a comment, share with somebody else. I want my content to get to as many women as possible who are navigating menopause. And I believe that I give really straightforward, common sense advice that women can easily incorporate into their lives. So just want to pop that up. I'm going to leave that up there for a second. So let's talk about things that we can do or things that our bodies respond to. Well, our bodies love routine. And for anybody who is not a routine type person, you're probably saying to yourself, great, thanks. How does that help me? I hate routines. And yeah, there are people out there that hate routines, most definitely. But sorry to say, it can be affecting how you're showing up every day and how you feel every day. So, are there little things that you can do? One that really is so important, and I can't stress it enough, but one that's really important is the routine of getting up at the same time and going to bed at the same time. And I do get clients that say to me, I'm a night owl. I work until I feel tired. That's my most creative time or my most productive time. I'm not changing that. Okay, fair enough. Then you might continue to feel the way that you feel. Sometimes we do have to consider making changes in our life to feel better. And this is one that I always ask my clients to consider. Can you go to bed 15 minutes earlier? Try to have lights out by 11 p.m. And I know for people who stay up till 1 a.m., 2 a.m., that can be a real adjustment. So, just try the 15 minutes earlier instead of 2 a.m. Let's go for 1:45, and start to further increase that. But getting up at the same time, even on the weekends, this is something that I started doing as my body went further into menopause. I mean, I'm postmenopause now, but as I started going further into menopause, I really started to notice that if I got up at the same time, went to bed at the same time, my body responded way better. The other little habit is eating on a regular basis and spacing out your meals properly. I do get clients that say, I get busy and I'm not hungry, so I skip lunch, but, I make sure I have breakfast and dinner. Or, you know what, I've never eaten breakfast. I don't like eating breakfast. There's no way I'm ever going to eat breakfast. Okay, all right. But there is more and more evidence coming out that it's very beneficial for women who are navigating the stages of menopause to be eating breakfast. One, it helps to lower our cortisol. So when our cortisol is lower, we're going to react differently. We're going to be more calm. Our body is not going to think that it's in fight or flight. So that breakfast meal is really important. Uh, if it's something that you just say, I don't know how to do that. I don't know how to start. Find something that you think might be really easy to eat, whether that's a soft or hard boiled egg. Have those prepared in the fridge. You can easily grab one or two, and that's an easy way to start. If you're vegan, then have something like a coconut yogurt with maybe some fruit in it. That's another great way to start the day. It doesn't have to be a large amount. Start out as a small amount, and you might see how your body is changing. And then over time, you're able to actually, have something bigger, a bigger bowl of coconut yogurt, or maybe you're able to eat, a couple of soft boiled eggs or poached eggs on toast or something like that. So start gradually, figure out, what your body is attuned to in the morning. Of course, I always talk about the coffee, but if you can delay having your coffee till 30 to 60 minutes after waking, start with a glass of water with a pinch of sea salt in it. That's going to rehydrate your body. It's going to give you some electrolytes. That's going to give you some energy. And I know we always identify coffee with the energy, but all that does is increase your cortisol. So what we're trying to do first thing in the morning is keep your cortisol down. So try to get into a routine. Try to make sure that you're eating your meals within 5 hours of each other. That's going to keep your blood most stable. And, that's another component. When our blood sugar is, and I think I said blood, you're most stable. I meant blood sugar. Um, you know, that's something else that really gets affected when we go into menopause because of the changes in our estrogen. Our blood sugar can be a little more erratic. So having our meals more consistent, the timing of those meals more consistent, try to keep that within a 12-hour window, and that's going to be a lot of benefit for your blood sugar. But that's also going to help support your body. Your body is not thinking that, oh my gosh, she can't eat, she's in fight or flight, because you're having a stressful day or whatever. So it is really important. And as I say, try to go no longer than 5 hours in between. If that means somewhere in there you need to have a small snack or something like that. And again, you might be a person who says, I can't eat a big lunch. That makes me tired in the afternoon. Well, part of the tiredness might also be that you're not well hydrated. So that's another good habit to get into, is try to keep your hydration up. Let's see. What else do I want to talk about? So I've talked about the habits. The other thing around habits is it's it's a very supportive process for our body. So all the things that I've just mentioned, all the tips that I've just mentioned, really what we're trying to do is give our body support, right? The more that our body feels supported. And I often say to my clients, and this might sound kind of funny or a little weird, but when we go into menopause, we have to rebuild that trust with our body. We've been driving our body, asking our body to support us no matter what we're going through. But once we get into menopause, our body wants our support even more. And it wants to know that it can trust what we're doing, wants to know that it can trust that it's getting food on a regular basis, wants to know that it's getting hydrated on a regular basis, wants to know that it has consistent sleep patterns or even activity patterns, whether that's walking or doing an activity or hobby that you enjoy. So that's what our body's looking for. It's looking for that consistency. Consistency probably sounds really boring, I'm a go with the flow kind of girl, and this is what I enjoy the most. Well, consistency is one of those things that really supports our body, and all of these habits I'm talking about all relate to consistency. The other part is that all or nothing attitude, and I see this a lot with people, is, well, you know what? I messed up. Okay, I've got to start over. Or there can also be this really deep feeling of, I've tried this, it didn't work, and I've failed once again. And every time I try these things, I just fail. And then that makes me feel worse about myself. And that's where working with somebody, having that accountability partner, whether it be a friend or whether it be somebody like me, a nutritionist or some type of a health coach, that accountability can make a big difference. And that was one of the things that, when I became a solopreneur and I don't have somebody, a coworker that I can go talk to about something, or a manager that's asking me how I'm doing on a particular project. I work with business coaches to make me accountable for the things that I say that I'm going to do. It also helps me with my consistency because they remind me, okay, we talked about this. Why has this fallen off the rails? You need to bring this back on track. So, all of these little habits really are important, but it can be difficult to do on our own. So, having somebody that we can talk to, quite often I get clients who say to me, you know what, I had a really bad day. I tied into the ice cream, or I tied into the cookies, or, I had one too many glasses of wine, whatever it might be. No judgment. There's absolutely no judgment on my part, but I want to talk my clients through that. What could you have done differently? Or, what was the trigger in that moment that just said that, your mind's saying, I want cookies or I want chocolate or whatever it might be. So having somebody to talk that out can really make a difference as to how we treat ourselves, that inner voice that can be pretty awful to us at times. So that's where, when you decide to do these things, starting on a new way of eating or new habits, having somebody to support you can really be beneficial so that you're not beating yourself up when you fall off track. And trust me, I know that. I know that just as well as anybody else. And even in my business, there's times where some weeks I don't get to the things that I want to do. And I really berate myself. And then I have to remind myself, I need to be kind to myself. The kinder I am to myself, the better I'm going to be. And I also have my coaches reminding me that I need to be kind to myself as well too. So those are important. So, why you're feeling unmotivated in menopause? Yeah, it's got to do with your hormones. It can have to do with the lifestyle that you've been leading. And there is absolutely no shame in that. But that's where also having somebody that can give you some guidance, help you decide on what things might be easiest to implement so that you can get those small wins in the beginning, and then help you, when you feel like you're falling off track or you're having a bad day, having somebody that you can talk to support you and keep you accountable, but keep you accountable in a kind way, because we're not always kind to ourselves when we're keeping ourselves accountable. So anyway, yes, that's what I wanted to talk about, was the consistency. I mean, there's a whole bunch of other things. We can talk about our overall motivation to reach our goal and those types of things. But here's the thing that can be dangerous about goals is I know a lot of people who, unless they have a goal, they sometimes are not motivated to do anything, and that can be really dangerous. It's better to, I guess, have a lifetime goal or maybe short-term goals, and then you know once you reach that goal, maybe setting a new goal so that your goal could be, okay, I want to get to bed by 10 p.m. And right now I don't go to bed till 1 a.m. That 10 p.m. is a long-term goal. So maybe in the short term, it's like, okay, can I get to bed by midnight? Can I, shorten up that time to eventually get to bed by midnight? Boom, you hit that goal. Now you start, can I now start to get to bed by 11 p.m.? Or, the goal might be planning to have that small breakfast first thing in the morning. And as you reach that goal and you're consistent on doing that every day, then it might be, okay, can I now eat a bit more at breakfast to support my body? So all of these things are possible, most definitely. Sometimes they're difficult to do on our own. And that's why I'm here to support you on that path. And I'm just going to bring up my other banner here that, you can reach out. Sometimes people say that, well, I don't know, having a call that might be a little vulnerable. Hey, again, there's no judgment on my part. I'm here to support you. I'm here to answer questions that you might have, do a bit of brainstorming, maybe give you a few tips on what might be helpful to get you started. So it never hurts to have a quick call and see, what the possibilities are. And support looks different for everybody, and I've got various ways for people to work with me, all the way from my group membership to a more longer, detailed one-on-one package. So you never know what might fit for you. I'd like to thank you very much for joining me. That's all I wanted to talk about today, was the consistency. So yes, you can feel motivated in menopause, but yes, it does require taking a look and making some changes. I will be back again next week. I'm hoping to talk next week about how menopause changes our digestion. This is something that I noticed a big change in. And so that's the topic I want to talk about. I've got some research that I want to do as well too on that topic. And so anyway, that's what my focus will be for next week. Thank you very much for joining, and I'd love to see you next week. Once again, I'll just bring this up. Please like and subscribe, comment, and share this with other women. I want to get my content out to as many women as possible who are navigating menopause. Menopause does not have to be navigated alone or in silence. No woman should suffer through the stages of menopause. It is an incredible time, and I'm here to support you. Thank you very much, and I'll see you again next week.